Jim.
Perfect. Thank you, fellas. We will call this meeting of the Port Orchard City Council Economic and Tourism Committee to order. Let's start with some introductions. My name is John Morrissey. I'm the chair of this committee and also the at-large member of council. Fred?
I'm Fred Chang. I'm a council member.
Heidi?
Heidi Fenton and a council member.
Mr. Mayor?
Rob Patansu, Port Orchard Mayor.
Nick?
Nick Bond, Community Development Director for the city.
Thank you. Jim?
Jim Fisk, Principal Planner.
Sean?
Sean Raja, Associate Planner.
Let's go Joe.
Joe Morrison, Kitsap BDA.
How about Cody?
Cody Clark, Executive Director of the South Kitsap Chamber of Commerce.
And how about our friends? It says Sarah Butler, but I also see she has Gary with her as well. Go ahead.
Morning, my name is Sarah Butler. I work for G. Anderson Group and I'm on the Port Orchard Bay Street Association.
Gary Anderson, Port of Bremerton Commissioner.
Excellent. Thank you both. Thank you all for being here. Let's jump in here.
Cody.
And start with this stakeholder discussion around the KETA Economic Development Report.
John, did you want Cody to introduce himself?
Oh, I got Cody right after Joe.
Okay, I'm sorry. I missed it.
Are we going to let Joe talk through this, or Jim or Nick, are you going to walk us through?
Well, there's not a whole lot to walk through. We just wanted to share the report that was sent to us with the Economic Development Committee for your information. But I think the report speaks for itself. But Joe, if there's anything you'd like to share concerning the quarterly report that you had sent us, feel free.
Why don't you go ahead and bring it up, pretty please?
Sure. Sean, you're going to have to enable sharing for us. Let me zoom out a little bit here.
Right. So we used to send out, and we still do send out copies of our monthly executive committee operations reports with this. But a one-pager is just a really good overview of everything it is that we do. And we take on quite a broad set of initiatives. So what I'll do is I'll just talk a little bit about what KETA does. I'll take you some of these numbers, which are, 3 months old, but we're finishing up Q2 at this point. And then I'll talk a little bit about some of the things that we did in the first quarter that I think were impactful. So the top row is essentially our metrics, our key performance indicators, and it's our job. And KETA runs 3 programs. So the first thing we do is kind of traditional economic development. And I really look at the core of economic development as business retention and expansion. The companies that are here in our community, what are the challenges that they face? What are the opportunities that they have? And how do we keep them not only keep them as employers in our community, but see those opportunities grow, right? And creating vibrancy in your current economic base. So that's what business retention and expansion is. That's the top line. And we do a lot of business retention and expansion work, right? We're talking with our companies a lot. We run 2 other programs, and I'll come back to some of these numbers, but the second program that we run is probably 30 years old. Today, it's called the Apex Accelerator. It used to be called the Procurement Technical Assistance Center, or PTAC. And this program's purpose is exclusively to obtain government, put our local companies, give them the opportunity to work with government contracts. So that's a really important part of what it is we do. And then the third program that we run, which was funded by a $500,000 grant from Washington Commerce, is a program in maritime autonomous vehicles, because A, we have a boat building community and industry here, and B, our largest employer is the Navy, and they have an interest in robot boats, for want of a better word, and that is called Wave C. So those are the 3 programs we run. And so let's go back to what KEDA itself does, sort of as the mainline economic developer. A lot of business retention and expansion work, working with startups. One of the things that we did for a second year in a row was run a micro business accelerator, which was 14 companies. It was based out of Paulsbo, but it has a county-wide impact, and it brings together Vibe Coworks, Kitsap Community Resources, ourselves, the Washington State Microenterprise Accelerator, and provides best practices to really small companies. So we do a lot of startup assistance. We have been focusing two areas that are a little more difficult for us are engaging in recruitment opportunities and discussing that. We can talk about the reason for that later, but it sort of has to do with what's available in our community and whether there's a place to site companies. And then export assistance. The Washington State Department of Commerce just mandates that we do that. We've been working on that actually in June. And then we host a lot of trainings as well. So talking a little bit about some of the things that we did first quarter, and going back to some of the government contracting stuff, actually your new director of public works was a superstar at an event we held. That might have been in April, but it was called Meet the Agencies. And the idea is, you know, KEDA is really good at dealing with federal opportunities, but government contracts come in all shapes and sizes, from the city of Port Orchard to Kitsap County to Washington State to Kitsap Public Utility District. And so we brought together city of Port Orchard and city of Bremerton. We even brought some folks in from Mason County to connect with local small businesses about opportunities that they would have. Other things that we focused on sort of in that first part of the year, we started off our year with a workforce plus education event. As KEDA goes through its 5-year plan, we are going to be focusing more on workforce opportunities. That was one of the things that came out of our recent 18 to 24-month focus on One Kitsap and the plan for a 5-year economic development strategy. So we held an event that basically brought employers and industry clusters, the healthcare industry, the defense industry, light manufacturing, government employers together with folks like Sarah Hatfield from South Kitsap, continuing technical education, and workforce professionals like Olympic Workforce Development Council. So we could start to create a bit of a roadmap as to what it is we need to do to increase the number of not just workers, but qualified workers in our community. Other things that have been going on, the United States Navy has started to put out at least 3 real estate solicitations for space locally, ranging from 200,000+ square feet in laydown yards to a couple 10,000 square foot opportunities for office space. So we've been focused there. Construction on that project at the Bremerton waterfront is expected to start somewhere around fiscal year 2026. So we still have a little bit of time on that. That is really going to be a significant investment in our community. And it's very much where KEDA is focused. Billions of dollars are going to come into this small community to provide the necessary upgrades to Puget Sound Naval Shipyard. That is a 131-year-old facility. A couple other notes that I'll provide. Inventec Marine Solutions, a company at the Port of Bremerton, was awarded a $200,000 grant from the Washington Department of Commerce in association with Kitsap EDA. It was a manufacturing support grant. That grant is going to help them as they construct, I think, a 60,000 square foot facility that will enable them to create more of their boats, which is good for all of us. And we held our economic forecast as well. In terms of what's coming up for you to keep an eye out, in the next 60 days, we will release our top employers report. This data will look at the numbers for employment among your top, say, 50 employers, maybe less. And we always know who the top employer is every year. No surprise, it's the Navy. But it changes a little bit. And typically in our economy, you see that 7 of our 10 top employers are public entities. 3 out of 10 are private sector. Sometimes it's 2 out of 10. So we look forward to finishing that up. And that's most of the news that's fit to print.
Excellent. And Joe, is KETA working with local companies, ensuring that they're ready for, I mean, I know that's what PTAC does, but is there anything that we should be engaging with local companies that we know about so that they can be on the forefront, right? So while those billions of dollars are pouring into our shipyard, they're not going into companies that maybe work outside of our footprint when we have the opportunity. Some of it will be because they have technical experience, but are we, I hate to use the word arming the folks, but you get what I'm saying.
No,
Equipping our business owners here in Kitsap to be ready when the time comes.
that is very much what our organization is focused on. It is going to be really difficult. The scale of this, there is a world where 1,000 workers come into this community every day for this project. And we probably don't have enough workers here. We're a community of 283,000 people and change in Kitsap. I mean, this is the real opportunity. It's kind of like once in a lifetime opportunity for this community. So we're very focused on it, and we're excited about it. And, you know, one of the things I haven't talked about, but tomorrow, Nick Bond is going to help us select a vendor for our Kitsap Industrial Lands, Buildings, and Infrastructure Survey. Sorry, I call it KILBIS. It's what I just, but that's another major work product that KETA is doing this year. So Nick's helping us make the selection along with Daniel Morse from Morse and Brown Commercial Properties. And the reason we're doing that is we don't think we have enough room for the investment opportunity that's going to hit this community, because not only is there going to be billions of dollars poured into the shipyard, but after that, there will be billions of dollars. Well, maybe not. It's $1 billion at least to get ready for the home porting of the Columbia class submarines at Bangor. So we have a decade plus of federal investment coming to this community. And so our thesis is, well, do we have enough? What should our industrial capacity look like? We don't really know. And so that's why we're taking on this study, and we're happy Nick's helping us make the selection.
Nice. Anybody else have questions for Joe, or any questions around that report?
I do.
Go for it.
Hey, Joe, you're communicating with a lot of entities, it sounds like, and gathering information or discussing what their expansion options might be. Are you getting any calls from the retail segment or the office segment who are now responding to the expectation of expansion in the shipyard and those kind of needs, and looking for office space or locations from that segment?
Office, certainly. I think a large portion of the community is going to respond to the first solicitation for office space. There have been some challenges with that solicitation, just in the terms of what our local market's used to and how we can respond to it. And so part of what KETA has been doing is taking that feedback and reporting back to the Navy on here's what works in our community and here's what is more challenging, and asking them to create more of an engagement mechanism before they release a solicitation. On the retail side, we haven't seen it yet.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I was kind of referring mostly to the office, not directly connected with the Navy, but because of the Navy, other expansions in that segment that are going to respond to it, because they're, we're going to grow residentially, and that's going to continue. And the office and the retail segment respond to those expansions once the demographics are changed and understood to be different than they were 5 years ago. So,
right. Right. I think we're seeing some changes. We're seeing some increased potential in the office market. Some of it's just related to the defense in general. And, every defense contractor in the world is basically in Kitsap, right? Huntington Ingalls, Northrop Grumman, they're all here and they're continuing to come. And I know that entities are looking and thinking through what their future might look here. But we haven't seen a massive uptick in that, would be my answer.
Thanks.
Anybody else with questions for Joe? Hearing none. Thank you, Joe. Appreciate it.
Thank you. I'm
Yeah.
lucky to have 3 board members on this call. Thank you, Board Member Morrissey, Board Member Anderson, and Board Member Putansu.
Yeah, you're welcome. Okay, that's all we had on the agenda, unless staff had any. Nick?
Yeah, I was going to make one announcement. I try to report on our pre-application meetings that we hold for potential new development in the city. We did have one. This is South Kitsap Mall. In the mall parking lot, there is this. It used to be a bank, and then it was a lab. And anyway, this is the building in front of the mall. We've got a restaurant looking to come in and potentially lease that. Obviously, changing occupancy from a lab to a restaurant requires quite a few improvements, and so we'll wait and see whether this one materializes or not. But that's been a kind of a dead spot along Mile Hill that may get activated here if things go well. So that's my only report.
Nice. Thank you, sir. I am going to bring up a topic, and I have just a quick, and I apologize, I thought about it last night. I think it's an easy win I know we talked about marketing in our council retreat. So I'm going to try and bring this up. I don't know if this is going to work. Come on, where's my share button? So Councilmember Warden posts something like this each month. I'm wondering if we have any staff capacity. Somebody's pulling this report for him. Hide it to our.
Yeah. This is a report that my department sends Councilmember Warden every month at his request. He just wanted to know about certificates of occupancy granted for new commercial or non-residential spaces.
Yeah, so I don't know if there's something that if we can provide that to Josh and Mr. Mayor, maybe you could
Be more appropriate coming from city channels. I wasn't aware that Councilmember Warden was posting that on his personal Facebook page. So Nick, if you could just make sure that that's provided to Josh, and then Josh can make sure that we're putting it in a social post for the city.
Thank you. Yeah, I wasn't sure if that was just, I think it's an easy win for the city, and getting that communication out. And I think if we just close that loop, I think that'd be great. So that's what I brought for my good of the order today. I'll open it up for anyone else. Mayor?
Just we're working in partnership with the farmers market, and we've got opportunities for a booth. If you guys want to move your council with coffee or coffee with council members, I don't know if what you would call it, if maybe you'd bring coffee to your booth. The city has a tent. I know the staff has some various outreach things that they're going to do, but that is, we're here to assist. If you guys want to put your booth in the farmers market, we could definitely help you with that. And we just want to, the folks at the farmers market just want to know, not the day of, so they can plan for your space and where they put you. So I think there's a great opportunity there also.
I will say, if you didn't get a chance to go down this past weekend, first of all, it was a great farmers market, and not that it always isn't, but it was full and robust. But the city had a great presence there. I want to give a big shout out to the police department being there. You could get in. Kids were having a blast crawling all over one of the vehicles there. They were right next to South Kitsap Fire and Rescue. I feel like that was a great community outreach, and just great community policing, right? Let's get folks comfortable interacting with our folks in uniform. So, Heidi?
Yeah. Oh, so I did show you a picture of it, and also Sarah and the mayor. But I think there's a great opportunity. There is this big, huge anchor that's on the side of the library. I'm trying to get some history on it, but I mean, it has weeds under it. People don't even notice it. And we've been kind of thinking about branding. You know, we want probably the nautical theme, and you know, maybe Mosquito Fleet. But I think that would be great to get that anchor and move it more, so the public can see it, maybe a little over by where the sign is for Welcome to Port Orchard, right down there. And so, and then people can see it, get a plaque, and get the history on it. And I mean, it'd be a great picture place where people can take pictures right there, but it's bringing in a little bit more, you know, for tourism and the people that live here. And so I would love to see that move, because right now it's getting a wasted space.
Not
Who do you-
certain whose anchor that is, and I think
Yeah.
the area you're requesting isn't our property either, so.
Well, I thought the building is our property. I mean, I thought that was the city's.
Depends on where it's, I'll have to go down and look at it, but I don't know.
I know, see, people don't even see it. So it would be, I mean, I'll try to get some history, see who owns it, where it came from. I asked the library, and they had, you know, it's not theirs. And so did it come from, I don't know, Kitsap, you know, the ferry system, or long time ago, how many years ago? Did it come from the shipyard? But yeah, I would love to take that and put more meaning on it and put it someplace where people can see it. I think that would be an easy fix.
I bet our friends at the port might have some knowledge about that.
I think that's Kitsap Transit's property, but you know, in the 1920s, that was a beach, so a boat probably just dropped anchor there and it's still there.
Seems to see how things work out there on that waterfront sometimes. So, okay. Well, let's get some history on it, Heidi. Let's find out some more information and go from there.
Okay, you got it.
Fred?
Oh, just as a reminder, I'm sure everyone here is on the mailing list for the Port Orchard Bay Street Association, but they are having a meeting tomorrow for the Holiday on the Bay, which is the new rebranded Chimes and Lights. It's at 11 at Revival, in case you are in town and able to make it. I'm sure everyone here knows it, but I just thought I'd mention it. And I'd like to thank the mayor's office for putting out more email notices of all the traffic and traffic impacts. It's nice to get them both on email and the Facebook posts. And it's actually nice to get more than you really want to hear, but that's a good place to be. And I think that's a really good development.
Thank you, Fred. And this morning I pinged Josh and Janine that, you know, well, we've sent it out multiple times to remind folks, you know, construction is going to start in earnest on that Mitchell and Lincoln roundabout, yeah, right after 4th of July. So that's coming, and PSC's out there right now doing underground utility work. And one more thing, you know, as you're walking by the Marina Pump Station project too, and I have more than one council member approach me, hey, there's a hose leaking there, or there's a sprinkler head that's spraying. That's what that is. There, I believe there's 7 of them. They're dewatering wells, and there's pumps on them. And what those dewatering wells are doing is keeping the bay from, because we're down below sea level in that big vault that we're constructing. So we're pumping water around this structure we're building that's would be underwater into what's called Baker tanks. And so it passes through the Baker tanks to make sure that it's clean, which it is. And then it's put into the storm system and then goes back out to the bay. And so those lines are pressurized because there's pumps. So some of those fittings leak. It's not our potable water that's leaking. It's part of the construction project, and it's nothing to be concerned about.
Okay.
If we didn't have those, we'd have we'd have a swimming pool.
A muddy mess,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
is what you'd have, yeah. Anything else for good of the order? Well, you guys are making my job nice and easy. Well, we'll call this meeting adjourned, 9:58.
Whoa, record.
Yeah. Thank you all. And we will see you, let's see, that'll be next month, the 8th, July 8th. Is that accurate? Perfect. All right. Meeting adjourned. We will see you July 8th, same time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.